What do we got going on here? Froze up. Can't tell what it's doing. Okay. I'll be right with you guys. The chat is open. If you have a question, you can go ahead and type it in. I'll explain what I'm doing here. We're going to Huntersville, and they have a profile event, and I have a choice to either fly a borrowed airplane that I don't know anything about, never flown or whatever, or finish my project. I built this airplane in about a month. It's been sitting on the paint stand over John's house for another month, and because we just couldn't get any good weather. So I brought it back home with me when I came home for the week, and I shot the clear on it. Well, I've since mounted the engine. I have to still yet cut the spinner and notch for the prop. I had some old Tetra wheels. They're about 3 grams heavier than the wheels that I normally use, but these were $50 back in the day, so I might as well use them. I did the fuel tank. I got the fuel tank set up. I'm talking about bench trimming, so I'll show you what we got here. I just don't have any room. Let's see if we can do it like this. Not really. Never enough room. Anyway, I can do this. I'm going to have to glue on the elevators anyway. So I'm in the process of bench trimming this thing. And what I mean by bench trim is I still have to glue the flaps and the elevators on. And I'm going to show you a couple of secrets that I use or whatever. Now, I think I've made one small error, that I've got too much tip weight in it, but we'll go ahead and fly it as is. It weighs 61.5 ounces, the way that it sits right here, and that includes the propeller, even though it's not on. But what I normally do for first flight is add tip weight until you get the wing to fall like this. See, it falls to the outside. I think that's probably too much. It falls kind of quick. But one of the things in bench trimming is this here, gluing these surfaces on. Now, I'm going to use 15-minute epoxy to do this. And we'll do the elevators first, and then we'll do the flaps. I'm looking at any of the questions. Make sure you like, subscribe, share the videos. Hopefully you guys are getting something out of this stuff. I do get a lot of views, but I don't get many comments. So leave a comment in the description box below. And I still have my one butt head that gives me a thumbs down all the time. Anyway, let's go ahead and mix up some epoxy and get some sticks and some clamps and stuff, and I'll show you how I do that. So this is 15-minute epoxy. With my hinges, you can use white glue. My hinges are wood to wood. Now, I will show that a little later on here after I get this starter glue, and I came up with a new method on installing my hinges. We're going to try anyway. I don't know if it's going to work, but everybody that's tried my hinges likes them. But my one friend John says he didn't like how he wasn't able to finish inside them. Well, I don't mind that because there's really not much to it, but I did clean up one of the things that I didn't like about doing it the way I was doing it. And I'll show you what that is here in a second. Anyway, mix up the epoxy really good. Yep, I got clamps, okay. So the next thing is, we're gonna need some sticks. I don't have a stripper here. Took them back to Dayton with me. So I'm gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way, strip by eye. Where the heck is the knife? Okay. Say strip by eye, yeah. Boy, that's some hardwood here. Need an old scrap piece of balsa. And we're going to cut this balsa into four, break it into four sections. So we got that. If we can get four out of it, we can get two. And we get four. Three. No, we can't. I need one more. Good thing I used 15 instead of 5 minutes. I'd be really scrambling. What happened to the knife? Oh, there it is. So I'll strip another piece off here. You can't do this on the flaps. You can only do it on the elevators. But it does hold the elevators level when you're getting ready to set the flaps. Okay, we got our jig material. And I've got the epoxy mixed up. Take the paint off that. Okay, that's cleaned off, so that's good. Get a paper towel for any accidents. And here we go. So I take epoxy and I stick it down into the horn area real good because I do not use, on my elevators, I do not use horn clips. I only use balsa, hard balsa saturated with CA. Okay, that's plenty. Wipe off the excess. Now we're going to do the same thing to the hinge pockets. And wipe off the excess. Okay, now we're going to stick this on here. And you say, well, what the heck were the sticks for? Well, right here, I'll show you. Didn't get much glue on that. You want to make sure that the hinges are glued on good. Yeah, it's a good thing I used 15 minutes because it's starting to heat up. Probably could have used 30. Okay, I take those sticks that I cut. These Harbor Freight spring clamps are just the handiest things. Place one over there like so. And I can't get it. That holds that in neutral. Now we'll do the other side. I gotta make haste because it's starting to kick off. This airplane was not one of my best finishes. Of course, it's hard to finish an airplane in a day or two. All right. So now, get the other one on there, maybe. I definitely want to wipe that out so it doesn't glue the thing solid. Your hinging system is probably the most important thing you can work on, so get it right. Okay. Okay, back to 0. Wanted to make sure I had a full swing, full range of motion. Okay, and do the other side. 2 more spring clamps. I'm gonna have to turn the airplane complete 180 on this. And we'll look and see if you guys can see what I'm doing here. Yeah. Come on, get on there. Now once you got this far, you got them both glued on. We're just waiting on them to dry. Oh, see, they're out. So you want to make sure that they're equal. You don't want to glue them together unequal. You want to hold them. Let's see here. Can we tighten this up? There we go. Okay, that zeroed them. Look at them from behind. This is very important. If you want your airplane to fly right off the bench, these are the things you have to do. You have to do a lot of looking. I was taught this by a friend of mine. You have to do a lot of looking. Your eyeballs don't lie. If it don't look straight, it ain't straight. Okay, so now we have to wait for that to dry, so let's have a discussion. Type something in the chat box. Oh, I know what I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you the new way to install the hinges. Okay, before I was notching this out from here down this way and then putting wood back in it. Well, this is my friend John's idea, except I'm not doing it. He wanted to finish these and then put the sliver in. What I did was I cut the notch and then installed a piece of 64th plywood over the hinge pin, so it doesn't have any of those bad looking areas that I was getting. I don't have them on this, but I'm getting better at it. But it's hard to deal with, so I think this will be a better way to do it now. If you wanted to go ahead and finish it out, you know, finish the insides of these slots out first, and then and then put them together. You could do that. Looked like my audio was clipping. Let me turn that down. Oh, it's unbelievable, all this stuff. How are we doing on audio? Is it clipping, or is it, is it cracking or whatever? There we go. No, it's not, Craig. That airplane that I started last Christmas, I flew at the Nationals. That's back in Dayton. This wing is a foam wing. This airplane's only a month old. It was built in a month. Because I didn't have a profile to fly at FCM and some of the other contests, Cincinnati, whatever. So I said, well, I'll build a profile. And the reason why it's getting finished up now is that we're getting ready to go to Huntersville. The reservations are made, and we'll head out to Huntersville and fly. And I don't have a profile, so I have a a decision to make. I can fly a friend of mine's airplane that I know flies that I've never flown. I know it flies because it's electric. It flies well. And I really hate flying other people's airplanes. Or I could finish this that's been sitting on the paint stand for the last month over John's house and fly this. So I just threw a couple of quick ink lines on it, shot it with the clear, and we're putting it together tonight to get it ready to go. So let's see what's up with the epoxy here. We're almost ready to take those loose. You don't want to leave them sit too long for fear that you might have got some glue on them and they're stuck. Of course, you could theoretically pick the glue out of it. Oh, I feel some glue there. So I got some 91 proof alcohol. I don't have my foam pad, so I can't turn it over. I have to look this way. Oh, it ain't bad. Won't worry about it. It'll be fine. I'm sorry I can't bring you in on a live stream, but for some reason, my Jitsy's not, it's just not hooking up. I can talk on Gypsy, but I can't stream and talk at the same time. I don't know what the deal is. I think my internet connection here is too slow. Seems to work okay in Dayton, but not working real good here. This is warning, please check it. Well, see how it's going back and forth. YouTube's having a problem. Either that or your current resident, which is not more info, which is not optimal. Current resolution is 1364 by 768. Okay. I'll have to see what the optimal resolution for YouTube is. Let's check that out. Optimal, TIMAL, res, OLUT, or STRE. Optimal resolution for YouTube streaming, which is live streaming on YouTube. According to Google, live streaming bit rates range from 3 to 240, 51 to 4K, 60 FPS a second. Your example for live stream. 1080 at 30 frames a second. .1080. So that, look, I don't know that I can change it up or not while I'm streaming. Probably not. 1080 by 30. Let's try it. We'll see what happens. Settings. Come on. Stream. Output. Video. Yeah, I can't. 1080. I can't change it. Video is currently active. Please turn off any outputs to change the video settings. Okay, so I have to change that in when it's closed. 1080. So I got to run at 1080p instead of 13 whatever. I mean, it looked all right. It looked all right from the stream yesterday. But what can I say? I'm learning. I don't know anything about this. Let's see what the control room says. Live streaming. There we go. All right, we'll do that on the next go around. 1080 by 760, whatever it is. Okay, it should be dry enough to check now. Yeah, maybe a little bit longer. Next time I come on live, I will have this straightened out though, because I'm going to do an in-depth dive on what's going on with YouTube. Okay, so those are equal. I'll take these off and see what it looks like. See how it operates. Any luck? It won't be glued stiff. There we go. Make sure they stayed equal. They did not. So I got to put that back on. It's a babysitting game. That's stupid gluing this crap on. If you want your airplane to fly good though, you'll be doing this. Snap! Stupid stick broke. Can't win. That's all right. We only have to do it for the elevators. These sticks hold the elevators straight when I'm gluing the flaps on. But I got to make sure to make these. Stupid babysitting. I hope you guys get something out of all this, because it sure is a pain in the rear. Broke another one. Now, broke it on the end, that's okay. Might have to sit there and hold that. Yes, I do. I do epoxy the horn tails into the elevators and the flaps. Well, that's good that it looks good in Australia. I think it was you, Craig, that sent me the letter. Okay, I'm going to have to sit and not monkey with it. I thank you very much for that, those kind words. That was very nice. Never been to Australia. Don't know what's around. All I got pictures of is, in my mind, is Crocodile Dundee. So must be hard to fly control line in the desert. Of course, I would imagine it's not like that. So the plan of attack is, now I got a saying that you don't have to practice tying your shoes. So I don't practice much, and it shows. I'm a few points off, timing, making the cut or whatever. I do need to practice more, but just like my saying, I haven't forgotten how to tie my shoes. I think I'm just going to take this airplane, put it together, bench trim it as I'm doing here. I'm going to test fly it and fly it in a contest for its first flight. The first flight will be in a contest, because these are the same numbers as my other airplane. It's relatively close to the same weight, as long as I get it to balance in the same spot and I make sure that everything is straight. The flaps are equal, and I'm going to use the same lines on it. It should fly exactly the same or close enough. Oh, thank you, Greg. Craig, I mean. Anyway, we're going to test fly it in a contest, because it ain't going to win anyway. So basically, it's going to have fun. So I got to wait for this to dry some more. It sure the epoxy's off the outside there. Oh, got some over there. .91 proof alcohol will more or less thin the epoxy out. Also take off your ink lines if you don't have any clear on it. It will also take off paint if you just painted it. So be kind of careful. This was my one-day paint job, basically. Like I said, the airplane was built in 30 days, and it sat on a paint stand over John's house waiting to clear it for a month. Okay. Keep babysitting. I'll show you the Tucker wing. I got most of it done. Tucker Special wing. The only thing I don't have done is the flap here. But we're really lagging. 2 likes. Yeah, give me the thumbs up, guys. Anyway, I got the flap here. Let me change this thing so I can see what I'm doing. Yeah, we need to change that to 1024 768. All right, so here's the wing. Came out. I think it's in this shape. It's 9.5 ounces here. The other flap on it'll be 9 3/4 ounces with the horn and the flap and all that other stuff on it. And tips came out real nice. There's no, I mean, they're sanded really well. Of course, I showed you how to do them doors. And a little dent there. Where the hell that come from? Must have set it down on something. Already getting hanger ash. Got to be in my cradle, so I'll have to check the cradle. We rounded the cap strips and, of course, the wingtip weight box came out real nice. That line there is just a pen line. It's not a crack or anything. So it's straight as an arrow. So this is probably my best work. Unfortunately, it happened on a classic airplane. We'll see how it finishes out. A guy had asked me where to get a set of plans for that. If you go to outerzone.uk and type in Tucker Special, it'll pull up a set of plans that you can take to your local Kinko's and have them printed off, and they come out full size. So they're free, and it has a real nice article. I've heard all the stories about Gary Zeller, and I know Art Schaefer. He died here a while back, and Ron O'Toole used to coach me. So I know all them guys, and I have talked to Bob Tucker before. So there's plenty of information on the Tucker Special. I'm going to paint it up exactly as the original was painted. I believe it was orange with Dana cream, which It's not my favorite colors, but it is nostalgia. I do have a tribute to Tom Warden airplane hanging back here, and so we'll get one for Bob Tucker. If I thought the Shark 45 flies well, but man, is it butt ugly. I hate the look of that airplane. So I'm not ever going to do one of those, but I might do a Phelps Patriot. See if I can make it 40 ounces. So, they got any questions while we're sitting waiting for glue to dry? Let me pop this chat out. Maybe that would help me. I bet it would help me, yeah, pop out the chat. And I can get the OBS going. All right. Yeah, that's the way to do it. OBS with popped out chat. Okay. So it looks like we're up and going okay. But if it looks straight, it's straight. Always seemed to work on his airplane. Yep. If it looks straight, it's straight. That's TLAR. That's what I use a lot. That looks about right. If it don't look right, it ain't right. Let's see where we are on the glue drying. The only bad thing about using this, it's still not set completely. If it was 5 minutes, it would be set, but I would have to do one at a time, which would have been okay. I mix up enough glue to do one elevator and then put it on and wait till it's set completely. Go to the other one. It takes, half an hour that way. This way it seems to take longer. Of course, I'm doing a lot of talking too. Or normally when I'm working by myself, it's just bang, bang, bang. I don't have to monkey with this stupid stream or whatever. Let's see what it says here. Okay, we'll tell you how the yes, I do have a bell crank. It's called a suspended bell crank video. It shows how I install a bell crank suspended between 1/8-inch piece of wire, fuel tubing, wheel collar, bell crank, wheel collar, fuel tube, and then the piece of wire, and it's suspended between two pieces of basswood in the center of the wing. That's in the suspend. Look at my building videos for that. And let's talk about the fuselage construction on this. Well, I know for a fact that a good light piece of 4-pound wood is lighter than you can build it up. So if I had a piece of 5/8 or 3/4 or even 1/2 inch good piece of lumber that long, I would use a solid piece. However, this particular fuselage was built with a 1/16 inch wood, balsa wood side they were about 6 pound. The two pieces are 1/16. Then it's built up with 1/2 inch in between and geodesic foam ribs inside. Then foam was cut, and we filled those voids between the geodesics with foam. I block sanded it and laminated that all together. So it's relatively light. It's not solid. It is a built-up fuselage, but there's a lot of work that went into that fuselage. It's totally unnecessary if you can get a good piece of wood. We were just talking about spars today. I have a spar here. This is a nicely constructed wing spar. I mean, it's stout and it's straight. The problem is it weighs 3.5 ounces. And you say, well, 3.5 ounces, that's pretty good for a 60-inch spar. Back in the day, when I built beam wings, I used to go to the lumber yard. They've since closed it. I'd crawl up on top of that big pile of lumber, and I'd pull out a piece of 1/4 inch thick, 2 inch wide, 60-inch long piece of clear white pine, no knots. And I could whittle that spar down that's this big, and it would weigh 1 ounce. So that's why this spar never got used. I felt that it was too heavy. This one here is 3/8 balsa, carbon toe on the top and the bottom, capped with 1/8 inch balsa wood. In the center section, it's 1/8 inch ply. It's, the compression spar is 1/8 inch ply, 5 inches on top, and all this is laminated together. And then it's got a tripler. These doublers here are 64th, and then it has a tripler here. That's a piece of basswood, 1/4 inch by whatever, rounded off. It's, like I say, it's built well, but anytime you build something really well with, you figure, well, it's not going to break, it's going to be heavy. So the reason why my I got some. Hey, here's my next tuner right here. Yeah, have to get ready going on that. I'm gonna build another one of those airplanes that I've been flying. Heck, I got fuselage side cut out right here. It looks like. Here's my next airplane right here. Fuselage sides are already cut and ready to go. Take them with me. Anyway, the reason why I'm going to build another one of those airplanes is I'm not real sold on the PAs. I mean, I gotta say the PA has a lot of power. It's really great in the wind because you just can't beat the power. I just don't like that extra 3 ounces of weight. It's just not for me. That's another reason why I kind of want to get the classic airplanes going, because they fly so much different. Yeah, we're getting close to dry now. I wish I could run an open muffler, McCoy 40 or something like that, because not that they had that much power, but they had that nostalgic sound, just kind of like what I do with opening up the Aerogloss paint. Open it up, or set it on the bench, and fill the room with fumes or the Amroid glue or whatever. It just brings me back to my childhood, where these new airplanes, yeah, they're fun to fly or whatever. They don't feel the same, they don't sound the same, they don't smell the same. And electrics, forget it. It's not even close to the same. You might be flying a computer. No noise. There's no challenge in getting it started except for to push the button. And one of the things that my buddies and I talk about with electrics is they're out of gas when you need power the most. Whereas a fueled airplane, it's always getting lighter towards the end of the flight, so the performance is coming up, and the British thermal unit takeover or whatever maintains the same until the fuel's gone. But with a battery, as you discharge the battery, and I don't want to hear that nonsense. Well, the controller speed. No, it does not. I can see them. If they turn the pattern around the other way, where the last 3 maneuvers were flown first, you couldn't beat electric, because the easy maneuvers that there's no power needed would be at the end of the flight instead of the beginning. Just my thoughts. You electric guys, results may vary. But for me, I like the nostalgic sound, feel, the light airplanes, the way they fly, where they snap, instead of like, you unless you were there, I can't explain it. Unless you were there, you wouldn't get it. You had to be there to know about it. Okay, I wonder. Well, it says it should be dry enough to move, but if they droop and move, I guess I could start doing doing this. I don't know if you can hear that. If I was going to really get after it like a full-blown stunt plane, I would sand these before I put them on and start polishing them. I don't even think I have any. This paint is not really old enough for sand anyway. I just painted it this morning. Knock off some of this hard edge and start the buffing process. I doubt this thing gets buffed out before I go. We got not leaving until not this coming Friday, but the following Friday. So there is a week away. I mean, theoretically I could get quite a bit done in the sanding, buffing, trimming, but like I say, I don't think I'm even going to fly it until I get to Huntersville, and we'll start. I know the motor runs because John built the engine and we ran it at his house, and motor runs great, so that's not a problem. I know the tank's going to work because I bench trimmed it, sighted the fuel pickups in straight in line with the Venturi. I do have some adjustment on that tank. You can see that you can slide it up and down by doing that screw, and this whole unit slides up and down. But it should be close. It should, one or two flights, it should be no problem to get it zeroed in. Let's take it off and see if it works. Like, subscribe, share, super chat if you can. Help me keep the channel going. Most of it ends up going to Rusty anyway. Yep, they stayed equal. So now I just got to work them back and forth, get them worked in. I don't want them to be hung up. I'm going to use 5 minutes on the flaps, but I'll do one flap at a time. That seems to be free enough. I got a little dry slide I'll put in them. Okay, let's mix up some 5 minutes. Now, on the 5 minute side, I'm going to have to make haste. So I'm probably not going to do a whole lot of explaining while I'm doing it. So I'll just explain it now. Obviously, once again, I've cleaned off the flap horn on this one. You want to take a ball driver, you want to put epoxy down into the flap hole. Let's see. Yeah, Jeff, that's right. They're just like a Harley without a kickstart. They work okay, but don't feel right. Anyway, you want to put epoxy down in the hole. You want to make sure that you get the hinge tang epoxied up really well, and try to shove some epoxy down into the trailing edge hole. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to lock these flap elevators back into the neutral position. This is all sighting it in. So we'll lock this back in neutral so that it can't move. Verify it down looking at the side down the edge. I don't have a whole lot of room to work in here. Yeah, these sticks keep breaking. They need to be pine, I guess, or thicker. So, okay, test fit the flap. Make sure that it's 0. Because it'll be buzzing right along with 5 minutes. Don't 5 minutes don't last long. You get one shot. Come on, get on there. Okay, that is. If you don't get this right, your airplane flies like a lowrider with its tail dragging. Okay, first one's going to go on no problem. And you say, well, why did you do the first one? Well, on the inside of this, I can't show you, but I'll show you when I get it all done. I have a piece of wood that fills where the push rod goes, in, a half inch between the fuselage and the flap. Well, that's dead nut 0 because I measured it from the thrust line and made it parallel so that I know where 0 is on the inboard side. So when this one is 0, these should be 0. That's perfect. It's worked out good. I've adjusted the push rod. Basically what's going on is you're bench trimming the whole way through. You want to make sure the bell crank is centered. You want to make sure the flap horns are bent in the correct orientation, meaning that the flap horn should be leaning forward. I think it's 2 or 3 degrees, eyeball close enough. And the push rod hole should be right above the pivot point of the horn. And the same should be on the elevator. That way everything travels together in the same ratios. So, where we're at here, mix up some 5-minute epoxy. I'm going to stop talking for a second while I do this, because I can't make a mistake. I'm going to do it on this side because this is the side that's close to where I got to be. Okay, here we go. Come on. I kind of miss working in this shop. You know, I like working where I'm working as far as work goes, except it's a long ways from my shop, my airplane shop. To get the paper towels ready. All right, here we go. Mix up the epoxy. Gotta move quick, so no talking. Little added measure here. Okay. All right, here we go. Come on, get on there. There we go. That's it. Just a matter of waiting for it to dry now. You'll notice I keep sighting, touching, moving. It's babysitting is what it is. This this side here didn't seem to set quite right, so how can we fix that? I guess we could take one of these big spring clamps, whack off a couple pieces of and bust it. No, I can use this. Got some pine balsa wood here. I'm going to spin up the table saw, so I'm going to mute it for just a second. Get this in the way. Not enough room here. Yeah. I had that sitting on my table saw. So I'm going to mute this while I run the table saw, and we're going to spin this up, so I'll be right back. Okay, I got some really oddball material here. This is 5/16, and it's balsa wood, but it's more like poplar. It's light, but it's really dense. So this didn't seem to be resting right squarely in the middle of the stab. So we're gonna take this and a giant spring clamp and hold it up there. I mean, it's still soft. That 15-minute epoxy is still not completely cured. That is a big spring clamp. There it is. Now I can't remember. I think this is it's been so long since I built this thing. I think this is a foam. A foam elevator stabilizer. So let that set for a minute. The 5-minute epoxy should be, yeah, it's kicking off pretty good here. My ball driver's kind of glued together. I like using the ball drivers for mixing sticks because you can just wipe them clean. Even if you let it harden up on there, you just take a knife and go whip, whip it right off. Not a problem. All right. So tell me what you think of this airplane. Does the paint job look all right? I mean, it's a good 10-footer. It's not you don't get appearance points for profile anyway, so John tells me, so it doesn't matter, but I just hate flying crap. Let's see, what do we have? We're still screaming. 20 viewers, 21 viewers, 8 likes. Great. Hey, remember, like, subscribe, share the video. Super chats help out. Helps me give Rusty some walking around money. I don't seem to ever draw any of those, but you know, they do help. Let's see what happened to the chat box. There it is. Okay. Leave a comment in the description when it's done uploading too. That helps as well. I need to grow the channel. We're up to 2,100 members on the channel. I'd like to see it double. What happens is it exponentially doubles as we grow. One guy tells 2 guys, you know, and then 2 guys tell 8 guys, and then 8 guys tell 32 guys. So it just kind of compounds. I had the plans for a full fuselage Junar, but never got around to building one. Do you know where I can get another set of plans? No, I do not. However, these Junars that I'm flying are Junar in name only. They are not a Billy Warwick's Junar. They look like a Junar, but it's not the same airfoil. It's not the same dimensions. Let me tell you how this all started. How this airplane got started. Chris Rudd and Bill Warwick were working on an airplane for Chris to go to the Worlds with. He showed a picture of his Junar XL. I liked it so much, I said, Chris, do you have a set of drawings? He said, yes. So he sent me a set of drawings, and I borrowed his mold bucks. Well, the numbers that they had for that airplane wouldn't work for my purpose. But I liked the look of that airplane. So I took the look of that airplane and did the numbers to work with a Super Tiger. And it's evolving from there. Each one of them is a little bit different. This one here is the same numbers as my first one because I like the first one that I did the best. And I think the reason why I like the first one the best is it's the lightest. It's 58 ounces. This one here has the same numbers as my first one, but has the weight of the second one. It's 60. This is 62 ounces. So, but it's 62 ounces because it's a foam wing. You know, you're not going to get around it. So that's why the Tucker Special, I come up with that thought on making the Tucker Special with the foam leading edge and the built-up trailing edge. The back half of the wing is built up because I don't like the looks of the scallops in the leading edge. So I got the best of both worlds. I got the weight of a built-up wing, but the integrity of the leading edge of a foam wing. So I think I'm going to like that. I think I'm going to do another Junar wing this size using that method. It is a pain in the butt to do, and it does take extra. You kind of have to make 3 foam jigs to do it, but I already have the original foam bucks from the first one, so we only have to cut 1 wing to do the next one like that. So, 6 to 1, half dozen the other. So that's what'll end up happening. But we did want to build a completely molded airplane where we're using a 16th inch molded sheeting over the entire airframe, much like this Al Raid Bearcat I have here. Someday I'll get around to building that. I have Al Raid's. This is a short kit from Walter Umland. This is that BBQ Bearcat. And Al Raid sent me all his DVDs. He sent me his muffler that he had made. So, for that, for Sato 72. And I got 2 canopies. 2 of the correct canopies that you can't get anywhere. These are, I can't remember the guy who did it. Real nice canopies. So someday I'll get around to building that. I'm told that I won't like it because it's too heavy and doesn't have the wing for it, but I like it because it looks scale. It looks like a real air. That's why I like the Thunderbolt so much, because it looked like a real airplane. These look like lawn darts. But what are you going to do? We build airplanes to go left, just like a sprint car or a half-mile bike. You're always crossed up in a slide, so that's what we're doing with these airplanes. We're building them with stagger and pitch in them. Wedge. Purpose built to go left. So we should be getting close to dry. We take this off and that off and check it again, work it through its paces, and I'll do the other side. Once that's done, I can check the balance, which I know the balance is real close anyway, because it's real close without the propeller. And this propeller weighs 0.8, and this is the only propeller that works good on a Super Tiger 60. And no, I'm not going to tell you what it is, because I'm having a harder and harder time getting them. Fortunately, I got about a dozen of them, so that'll probably last me my lifetime if you don't break them. Well, let's see here. What do we got going on for watchers and that? 23 watchers, 10 likes. I'd sure like to get it up to 23. Come on, guys, hit the thumbs up button. Make sure you share it with your friends. I don't have enough computers to keep track of all this business. There we are. Need another big monitor. I'm getting blind. 11 likes. That's great. Hit it again. $15. There we go. Big jump. What that does is it helps the channel grow. And like I said, I got 2,100 members. By this time next year, I'd like to see it 4,200. If there's 4,200 of us guys still alive. Because if it ain't involving a computer, the kids ain't interested. Instant gratification. You could not get a kid to sit down and go through this. There ain't no way. It almost feels dry. Well, we had 25 viewers. Now we're down to 23. Must have popped out and hated me. So how many think I ought to test fly this first or just fly it at Huntersville? That's it. We'll take a consensus on that. I'm going to be giving away this Christmas a, I think it's a Vector, an electric Vector. When the Christmas giveaway gets close, I'll start a thread. You'll have to get on it if you're interested in electric Vector. I might give away my SV11 ARF. I don't. It's nice to have stuff, but I just don't have the room for all this stuff. I got a lot of stuff. Got to get George Carlin. Got to get another place so you can get more stuff. And when you get that stuff, you'll get a bigger place. You got another place to put your stuff in. So what do? You go somewhere to the field and you take some of your stuff. Well, you go to the hotel room, you take your stuff and you put it in the drawer because you got to have a place to put your stuff. Just like George Carlin said. That guy was funny. He was a wordsmith. He did a White House dinner and he cut them in half and never cussed once. You'd think, well, this guy is a cussing machine. No, he was a wordsmith. That man could talk and talk and talk. And just, you know, he railed off some of the greatest stuff. Save the bees, save the whales, save the trees, save those snails. Give me a break. Thanks for the super chat. I don't know who did that. Let's see here. Showed up on here. Super chat was done by John. Thank you, John. Let's see. Yes, it was very popular for many years, and then it went away, and now it's coming back. Mike says to test fly it. I don't know. Maybe we'll see what they say. And the SV11, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet. Whether I'm going to give that away on a Christmas giveaway or some type of raffle or whatever. Of course, no purchase necessary because I'm not running a lottery or anything like that. So everybody's usually what I do is I start a thread, and anybody that's interested in getting it adds their name to the thread, and then I pick from the thread because I use a random number generator so that it's fair. I mean, let me tell you, when I judged the appearance points at the nets, I'm going to tell this story. There was an airplane that I picked. There was a couple of airplanes on the front row. And the airplane that I liked got the most votes. However, so did another airplane that was on the front row. There was a two-way tie for concourse trophy. And Dennis Admission was running the show, or running, he was the CD. And it was up to me to choose between the airplane that I liked and the other airplane. Well, I could have been a jerk off and just chose the one that I liked to give the concourse trophy to, but we flipped a coin. I don't know. I think fairness is the only way to go. You just, I know there's some people that won't build that ARF, or that SB11 or that other little one. I can't remember what they call it. But if the name's drawn, that's who you got to give it to. That's much as I mean, there's some people that I don't really care for, but if they're drawn, that's who you got to give it to. It's just it's the only way to be fair. And I don't know. I believe in fairness. The same way when I'm judging a contest in maneuvers, if a beginner can get a 40-point maneuver. If it's 40 points, it's 40 points. It doesn't matter whether it has beginner or intermediate or whatever by his name. I don't believe in that bracketing crap that goes on at the Nats, and that really is aggravating to me. Well, we don't like him, so we're going to keep him down. We'll give him 2 points of maneuver less. Horseshit, because when you put him, when you video, and I can prove this, when you video those flights, you can't tell the difference between the two flights. And loops are not ovals like this, but they sure seem to score high because somebody's name's attached to them. That just ain't right. That's why my idea was, and some guys have left flying because of this bias in judging or whatever, and don't tell me there's not, because I know there is, that I wanted the college kids from Ball State to judge it. First off, they're not 80 years old. They don't need glasses so they can see. And then I've heard people say, well, you can't teach them, what the pattern is. Well, look, can they see round? Can they see square? Can they see through? These kids are engineers, going to engineering class. Can they see 5 foot? You didn't know the pattern before you started judging, because there's a lot of people who are judging out there that can't fly worth a crap. So, I don't want to hear that you can't get somebody to judge that doesn't know the pattern. Well, that's baloney. That mileage may vary. Again, those are just my thoughts. Of course, you hear a lot of whining and complaining about that because, oh, wow, I'm so-and-so and I don't get the extra points. Yeah, well, that's just the way it goes. Okay, let's see what happened here. Check it again. Okay. As you glue them on, you can feel the resistance in them, so you got to get that resistance worked out of them. Okay, let's see, did that fix that? Fix that, so that's good. What I was doing with the block of wood over there is that on that side, the elevator didn't get quite centered up in the stabilizer. So I blocked it up. I pulled it up until the epoxy dried so that the elevator was zeroed in the center of the stabilizer. So a little bit of flap down, a little bit down on the elevator. That's perfect. So now I gotta do this outboard one. We'll do that with 5 minutes as well. And that should do it for the gluing of the elevators and flaps and stuff. Of course, it'll take, a few hundred back, oscillations to get them 100% free. I do have some dry slide over there. This is 5 minute. Okay, so we're going to use 5 again. Now this last one is a little trickier than the other two because you have to sight it from behind. fortunately, I have taken the time, put it on, take it off, put it on, take it off, bend the horn until they're zero. So this is basically just slide it right on and we're done. I have a little bit of paper there. A little extra care at this stage, you know, it doesn't hurt. Yeah, John said this is a good 10-foot airplane. John said there'd be people that would kill for this airplane. Well, maybe I'll give it away. Not with this motor, but maybe I'll give it away. Depends on how I like it. I haven't built or flown a profile in 20 years. Well, I did build one, but I never finished it. I gave it away. If you look on the forum, my last electric build was electric profile, and I just decided I'm done with electrics, and I gave it away. All right. Let's proceed to the final bit. You know your controls are free when the gravity pulls them straight. Okay. You know, I didn't used to think that super free controls were a big deal. But after you fly a light airplane, I can't stress how much light is important. Light airplane with super free controls. Next time we're on chat, you can ask Steve Hines about flying upwind with my light airplane at Brodex. If you can't fly a light airplane, the way the hell you can't. You just have to have ample power. From what I understand, I fixed my boss's Yatsenko airplane. I don't think I did any video on that. He converted it from stocker, whatever kind of engines in those, to electric. And we were at FCM, and he had converted the first time. And there's a lot of torque on those motors, and it wasn't engineered very well. I knew it wasn't going to work when we talked about it at lunch. I said, it's not going to work. And sure enough, it didn't work. It didn't last but, I don't know, 2-3 flights, and then the motor ripped out of it. So I told him to give it to me, and I redid the nose of that Yatsenko airplane. And from what John tells me, it's holding up. So I took that circuit board material and cut it round on the lathe to fit inside the nose ring. I cut the motor mounts out of it. I glued some super hard end grain, might as well have been pine, end grain balsa up against their metal nose ring they had in it. And then epoxied that circuit board nose motor mount that I made on top of that, and backfilled it with superfill. You know, was it overkill? Probably. but I guess it works, so it's all that counts. And I'll probably regret that because he's going to fly that at Huntersville and beat me with it, maybe. Of course, last year he he killed my airplane. He killed my airplane. I'm going to fly. Poked a big hole in it. He was holding it, and the wind caught it, and his thumb went through the leading edge sheeting, and it was running. It was upside down. I was getting ready to take off for my official flight, and he waved it off, and shit. Turned it down and had a big old hole in it. Well, I'm bringing that airplane back to Huntersville to fly. That airplane flies exceptionally well. I had repaired it. You can't tell where the hole was. Did I get mad? Not really. I mean, I'm disappointed. I had another airplane. I could have flew the high roller, but it was untested. Or did I have another airplane? I don't know what I had. Maybe I didn't. No, I did. That's the high roller video that's on there. That's a year old. It should be. Yeah, that airplane flew all right. Should have let Charles flew that instead of my other one. I might have made top 20 this year. All right, we got 21 watchers, 16 likes. It should be 16 or 21 likes up there. Hit that like button. Hit that share button. Super chats help. We appreciate those. Come on, get on there. There it is. I'm gonna have to wipe that. I guess we can start rubbing this tomorrow. Get it sanded out anyway. Okay, so now I got the other flap on it. It's not dry. But what I want to do is I want to sight down the trailing edge of this and make sure they're lined up. That's how you get your airplane to fly level and not goofy right off the bench. That's a tire and the glue. You'll go around there. Get rid of this thing here. That yellow thing was the pattern to the Monado scallops. That's how old that piece of paper's been hanging around here. All right, now it's up a little bit. Give it a little down tweak. Take a look at it. It's pretty close there. Look at the, okay, that's there. Got a slight bit of droop in the tail, just like it's planned. Now it's just a matter of waiting. And that's it. Now I don't have a jam nut on this inside here, I noticed. So one of the things in bench trimming or whatever is to go over the airplane and make sure that everything is where it's supposed to be and tight. There's nothing worse than to take an airplane out of the field, the motor won't start. Once the engine's running, you get a crappy engine run because the tank wasn't set up right. The airplane doesn't fly level because you didn't take the time to go through it like I did just here. I do this every airplane. I go through, make sure everything's zeroed, the balance is correct. We'll show you that, the balance. Now this doesn't have a propeller on it, so it's going to be a little more nose heavy, but see, it droops right on down real slow, right where it should balance. So we're in good shape. You want to make sure that the wing rolls to the outside, which it does. And there's one other test, but I can't test it till I get the propeller on it. And that's this test here where you put it down on the nose and this tail should drop real slow to show if the landing gear location's right. This is a little bit forward. But that's okay because this is a profile event and I'll probably end up flying it in the grass. You just have to be extra careful when coming down for a landing with on pavement with the landing gear forward because it'll bounce. But forward landing gear is real good for grass. So this is a little far forward, but it's not far off because this should just drop real slow, and this has got a pretty good drop to it, but I can't really tell until I get the prop on it. I have to go ahead and cut the spinner out. I do have a spinner that's already cut, but it's in Dayton, so I'll probably, the spinner cut is not that big a deal. I got 3 or 4 of these super nice spinners that my friend made for me. Unobtainium spinners. I got the windy mold over there for the Spitfire spinner. If I ever want to make a carbon Spitfire spinner, I got Wendy's mold. I also have his Stax mold and his landing gear door mold. So we'll wait 5 minutes to check that, and then I'll cut the stream. And I do appreciate the super chats, the likes, the watchers that are spending time with me. It's hard to talk for, I don't know how long we've been running, 2 hours. Let's see here. See, for some reason, it doesn't tell me. Oh well. I need to sit down and figure out some of this stuff, but the way my work situation is going, where I'm here in my shop once every month or once every 2 months, it's hard for me to figure out what I forget everything. And it's ultra hard to work in that little shop that I have in Dayton. I mean, it's a 1-room apartment. That's what it is. It'd be like it's like living in this room here, only I got to sleep, right there, and no place to do, and I can't make noise, and I can't paint, and I can't really sand. So I'm kind of limited there. That's why I go over to John. So I do all the clean stuff I can do over there, cutting the ribs out and the gluing of the, laying up the sheet, whatever. Bit molding, I can put my wood in the bathtub and mold, and but can't tear anything up. So can't make a big mess. Can't make any smells. Definitely can't make any heat because the alarm will go off. Let's see. Let's look at analytics. 88 playbacks. So we've had 88 different people looking at this. We had one super chat from John. I'm going to butcher the pronunciation, Sukalak, but appreciate it. Stream health had a warning. Stream is healthy, and then another warning. Healthy, and then another warning. Healthy, warning. I don't know. I think that's due to my crappy settings. I'll go in and change those when we get off of here. It wants me to change the resolution. More info, which is check video with the current resolution is 1364 by 768, which is not optimal. So they want me to do 1080 by 600 or whatever the hell it is. So whatever 16, I'll look for some 16:9 resolution. Aspect ratio. I forget exactly what goes with what because it's been a long time since I did any live streaming like this. So what I'll do is, if you have any questions, would like to come on and ask me, let's do that now. No, I can't because the video captures on here. Go over to the At the Bench thread. I'll open up a Jitsi Hangout. We're going to end the stream here. It will not be live posted on there, but if you want to discuss with me anything, come on over to Stunhanger at the Bench. I'll have a link in the At the Bench thread, profile bench streaming. So we'll see you later. I'll try to do another stream before I go, or maybe when I get back to Dayton. I'm not sure. So thanks for watching. Fair winds, tight lines. See ya.